What's going on, people? How are you guys doing today? Hopefully, you guys are doing well. I said hi to most people, but what's up to Lauren, Stephen Wallace, Neil Perkins, Kathleen Smith, Jim Miller, Brandon Sutton? How you guys doing tonight? Hopefully, you're doing well. Our friend from Knives 101 may not be able to join us tonight. We're going to see. He is busy and traveling very soon. So, uh, whatchamacallit, it's going to be Luke and I tonight. How are you guys doing?
What's up, Sharif?
Whew, man, busy day. How about you?
Bro, it's been a long day, and I wasn't sure if I was even gonna be able to make it. I had a phone call right before this, and I'm like, oh, I might have to go.
Yeah, dude, I feel
Yeah.
you. I just got back from doing a deal with a local knife store, and they were on the other side of town. I was like 70 miles an hour on the back roads. I even had to
Oh,
stop to get
jeez.
gas. Here's something crazy. Guess how
Um,
much
I
gas
have
is?
to answer this as a work call. I
Oh,
apologize. It's
yeah,
part of the.
no. All right, guys. What's up, Goondocks? Real quick, guess how much gas is in my I don't live in a small town, but compared to like LA, San Francisco, San Diego, it's a small town. Okay. Lauren's cheating a little bit because he lives in California, but for the rest of you, guess how much. Oh, now here's a little. Let me preface this by saying it. Unfortunately, I have to get premium for my car. So knowing that now, you have the full scope of information. How much do you think I paid for a gallon and for a tank of gas? It was bad. And oh, Jim, sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, when our parents get older, the tables tend to reverse. We end up taking care of them, but it's good that she has you, man. And so the local population here is right around 400,000 Goondocks. So, okay, you live in a much smaller town than I do. Stephen Wallace, I didn't realize you lived in the Bay. What's up, dude? We're only like a couple hours. I'm probably like an hour and 45 minutes away from wherever you are. Maddie, what's going on? I'm just throwing it out there. I had to get gas on my way back here to catch the live stream. And I paid $6.07 for gas. It was my small gas tank was $83 to fill. Ooh, no way. Like absolutely nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. But thank God I made it here in one piece and we are able to do the live stream. And yeah, tell me about it, Brandon. That's horrible. Yeah, exactly, Goondocks. And I think I put like right around 13 gallons. And yeah, see, man, cost of living in California is ridiculous. And imagine if it was $6.07 here, what it is in LA, which is crazy. Okay, Michael Morgan. Yeah, Canada, you guys are. I won't get into politics, but you guys are getting screwed lately. I feel for you guys, man. Hopefully, things with the gas tax and all the stuff you guys are dealing with gets resolved, man. Huh, Maddie? Yeah, tell no one. Tell nobody what you just got. And all right, so enough talking about gas stuff. We're here to talk about knives. And the question that I had for you guys, and this was kind of spurred recently because I'm working on a what's going on, Joe? Everybody, this is my partner in crime, Joe. If you are not subscribed to him and you guys like stuff about model building, Gundam, things like that, and uh, anything kind of in that space, click on his account, give him a follow. Joe is awesome. Maddie knows him. He is an awesome dude, good friend from school, and we work together. So yeah, Joe's a stand-up character, man. He's a good dude. And so yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Joe has a real passion, and definitely he's a good dude. And so anyways, the reason I wanted to kind of talk about what constitutes like a good EDC knife is because I'm working on a budget knife, and this is going to be under the Manganus Steel name. um, I am trying to decide now on the different elements. And one of the absolute standouts for me lately, and not only just in terms of price, but price, quality, etc., has been the Devo Knives Growler. Here, I'll make it easier. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. The Devo Knives Growler. And I really like this. It's fairly slim for me. Yes, I am, Dr. Drew. I am debating myself. Um, but it's slim. It's even a good size for me in the choke up, which is very rare on a smaller knife. You know, now I'm not the biggest on having a ton of belly like this, but I really do dig this knife, and I mean, I spent my money on it, which says a lot. Like, I probably haven't bought a knife below $200 in a while, and this one was totally up my alley. I actually was hoping or waiting initially for the American made one because I like this platform so much that uh, I was willing to spend the extra money. But if you guys know the story, basically that fell apart, and um, we have this wonderful EDC knife now. I am proud to say I actually carry this a fair amount. A lot of days I have to choose, or I make the decision between this and my Kaimano. Kaimano is a bit of a bigger knife. Uh, so if I want something a little bit slimmer and more kind of just lighter weight, I tend to actually go with the growler. So my new design that I'm working on is not the same size, but pretty close, actually. And if you guys remember, this was the little sneak peek of it. If you do have a growler, that kind of gives you the tip to tail rough estimation. Mine's a little bit longer and takes it a little completely different approach to the blade shape and the handle and all of that stuff. Um, it's If you don't have a growler, it's a little bit bigger than a pair of three, you know. So I have the decision to make now about what to do with the blade stock thickness and the handle scales. So I'm really curious for you guys. Like, I tend to like a thicker blade stock, generally speaking. I like to be at around, if I can be, 15 or 150 thousandths, uh, no less than 130 thousandths. Is that right for those of you who do inches? I know what it is in metric. I like to be around 3.5 millimeter, 4 millimeter, ideally, is what I like in my blade thickness. Um, but with the the growler is actually fairly thin, you know, and combined with the tall flat grind, it's yeah. See, Donnie Bless. By the way, I have to say hi to a few people. Donnie Bless is here. Real 210, Dr. Drew Dude, Steve Clare, uh, whatchamacallit, who did I miss? Kyle Kuno. God, Kyle. I need you to send me your address again, Kyle. Hit me in the DMs. Donnie, was I saying the freedom units correctly? 130 thousandths, 140 thousandths, right? I just want to be sure because I'm never sure how to like what's the. I get word salad. But so like here's another really good EDC knife, right? And again, they have about the same blade thickness. This is the Flytanium Arcade. This is basically just like a grown-up Benchmade bug out. I mean, for God's sakes, it uses the same thumb studs as the bug out. Oh, nice, Crispy. What's going on, Crispy? So, do you now remember this is going to have a hollow, right? So, would you guys still prefer a thinner blade stock? Okay, Michael Morgan says 3 millimeter. Do you guys prefer a thinner blade stock or do you prefer a thicker blade stock with a hollow? What did you say, man? Sorry, I'm trying to keep up, you know? Oh, you see, Steve Clare gets it. And Kyle is 100% right. The 10 millimeter does always go, does go missing. And so I have a lot of, I do have a lot of hollows. Yeah, see, Dr. Drew says thicker with a hollow. I think you have a reversed. One of the best knives that I have for like a nice deep hollow is this guy, and I want to get it in imperial for you guys. This thing is at around 200 thousandths, and so that's like 5 millimeters thick with a deep hollow on it. Of course, I always gotta shout out my boy HUD GTC. But this thing, believe it or not, with this hollow, is very slicey. Feels phenomenal in the hand. Doesn't feel too chunky. Doesn't feel too thick. You know, this is a very sweet knife, and if it did have a better pocket clip solution, I would actually carry this a lot more than I do. This is one of my favorites in my collection, and you can sometimes find them actually pretty cheap, you know. Yeah, so this is Michael Morgan is kind of hitting what I'm thinking about, right? I I have my opinions, but I wanted to hear from the community. right? So generally speaking, and I can kind of like illustrate this for you guys if you guys are really interested. But like I will EDC um Kyle, yeah. I will EDC something like this. This is the ZT0640. You can see the primary bevel here is not terribly tall, but you've got a 4 millimeter thick blade, which for you imperialists is right around 160 thousandths behind the edge, or not behind the edge. It's right around 160 thousandths, right? So I have no problem doing what I like to do with the knife like this. Now it's not the greatest knife for taking down cardboard, but I really still don't have a problem with that. You know, Kathleen, the Grazioso is 3 millimeters for reference. So that guy is coming in right at around 120 thousandths. So that, if that's your reference, what I'm really only talking about is like a 0.5 millimeter, kind of range. But believe it or not, when you're dealing with such small objects, 0.5 millimeter makes a big difference in terms of performance, you know? So I'm seeing kind of a mix from you guys. You guys tend to like, I mean, is something like the bug out your kind of definition of a slicing knife? What's yes, I do. Kyle, I absolutely do. And this is something that I was going to kind of show you guys. Um, you know, like I can show you a little bit behind the scenes of how I kind of work things out as far as like blade geometry. Yeah, the bug out is very slicey for sure, but that's, I think that's like nine 90 thousandths, something like that. It's very thin. It's almost too thin for me, you know. Yes, I agree, Kyle. 100%. 100%. I mean, there's nothing for me to disagree with this statement. But here, I'll show you guys real quick. So I created kind of a simulation for understanding like what my decisions in blade geometry kind of creates, right? So where is it? Yes, this we go. Here we go. So I'll share my screen with you guys real quick. The growler, dang it, I don't have my calipers next to me. The growler is fairly thin though. So this is something that I created to use, and it's going to be a little funny using it without my mouse. But here, what I like to input, let's edit sketch. So here you can kind of see how I look at geometry, right? So let's say we have a 3 millimeter blade, 20 millimeter high bezels, primary bezels. God dang it. I should plug in my mouse, right? You can get an idea if you set your angle here, you can see how the edge is going to transition from the edge bevel to the primary bevel, right? So, like if you were to take this knife and then, grind it to a 17-degree edge, you can see you're going to get more edge bevel showing. You're going to get a taller edge bevel from the tip of the edge to the transition, you know, and yes, you will get more slicey, but if you were to take like a measurement here, this dimension changes, right? So I like to go and um, evaluate this kind of stuff before I make decisions, because as Kyle was saying, overall geometry does matter quite a bit. And I do this for hollow geometry as well. So, you know, you can see, like, I have a rough idea of the size of wheels that are available to me. This is now setting the geometry, and, I can set here, okay, if I want this behind the edge thickness, this wheel size, this height of the bezel, this is going to be my transition, right? So I will play around with that kind of stuff generally when setting my geometry. You know, this is getting like nerdy behind the scenes stuff, but you guys can get a rough idea of how the process is going, like when I make some of these decisions. But the duh, 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 based on what a lot of people are saying, like the most common number that people know is blade thickness. And then I can make adjustments to get better geometry from just knowing that, which is why I asked you guys, what up, Mind of Milton? How you doing? Sorry, I wasn't seeing chat because I was on the other window, but let me catch up here. Kyle says, based on the design, it's chunky and hard looking. Go for 4 to 4.5 millimeter and do a hollow compound so it still cuts. It's not going to be a slicey monster. Right. I agree. This is where I'm leaning. Now, having said that, yeah, totally, Joe, right? So there's like a third dimension to the decision making process, and that's what kind of blade stock thickness is available from the factory. So originally with the Kaimano, I wanted to do 4 millimeter, and they simply didn't have it. Like quite literally didn't have it. They didn't have 160,000 blade stock, right? So it wasn't even an option. I had to go down to 3.5, which is 150 thousandths, and or 140 thousandths, and redo my geometry accordingly with that new information. That said, the Kaimanos are ridiculously slicey, and that hollow grind does make a big difference. I am a huge fan. This is my user, by the way, and it still looks sexy. Anyways. So, okay. You guys answered my question. What I really want to know is, like, what do you guys look for in an everyday carry knife? Like, what is your kind of ideal models? What are the ones that have stood the test of time for you, right? I have a lot of knives that are really good, but I know that I have slightly different likes than everybody else. So, what are the ones you keep coming back to? You're like, oh yeah, I like to carry this other stuff, but this is the one that just keeps finding its way back into my pocket over and over and over again. I'm really curious, you know? Like, for me, like, my Kaimano is one, the Growler is another. That's a pretty wide range. Um, what else do I have up here? Oh, the Pyrotech Kraken, actually, believe it or not. Yep, right here. This guy keeps finding its way into my pocket. I actually freaking love this thing, man. And that's not even me shilling. I you can see, like, I don't know if this will come through on this particular camera, but I've got all sorts of little mucks and gunk on it. Um, and no, that it didn't doesn't have a chip in the edge. That's just the light showing through in the camera. But I did notice that it the edge is still very good. But and Marco, what's going on? Yeah, see, so right there, Hera 3, that's one that everybody comes back to. You just carry anything and everything, Neil? Very curious. Fook Doozle, the Vosti Thunderbird, the Real Steel H6 Plus. Huh. I don't think I know the Real Steel H6 Plus. Let's check that out. Oh, okay. I get that. I get that. You got 14C, drop point, big blade, and it's affordable. That's a great work knife, actually. Heck yeah, Fookdoozle. Good choice, man. That's sick. That is absolutely sick. O Knife R1. Let me double check this. Oh, the Sentry R1. Yeah, that is one of Maddie's favorite knives, and I do need to return it to him. But this is a very impressive knife. I don't know how you carry this, Lauren, but this is a very slicing knife, very good for kitchen use. Actually, I get why people dig on this for sure. You know, Goondocks. It's a mixture of both, right? So the stuff that I license is generally the stuff that I've designed to sell, right? Because the reality is, what will sell is more basic designs, right? But when I'm designing for my own brand, I have two kind of ideas. Like, I want to do premium stuff and I want to do some affordable stuff, but I want it to be in my style, you know? And I want stuff that is the kind of stuff I would carry. So, like, this little pocket bruiser, this is what I want. You know, I have seen stuff like this in the customs market, in the fixed blade market, but nobody's making $120 knife like that, and they won't because they're trying to sell thousands of units as a factory, whereas like me, I want to sell 100 units, you know, and if it does well, I'll order more, you know. But the the there is a big difference between what you're designing for, you know, your own brand versus mass market appeal, I guess, is the short answer to that, the TLDR of it. Jetstream the Kraken, nice choices. Let's see what else. Yeah, H6 is amazing. I agree. Have a good night, Kathleen. Have a good night. Let's see. Yeah, I understand this for sure. You know, you don't want to damage your babies. Okay, interesting selection. CRKT Homefront. I don't know that one. Um, let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, nice. CRKT Homefront's a dope knife, actually. I really, really dig that one. And the Tempest Microburst, of course. Spyderco Tenacious. I was just talking about that earlier today. And the Manix 2. Manix 2, probably one of, if not the best Spydercos of all time, without a doubt. Right? Yeah, Manix 2 is a phenomenal slicer. I have to shout out Five Door. Man, I got his S110V1, and I'm really loving it. Ursula, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Man, Ursula goes for the Paramilitary 3 and the bigger version Strider, the SMF. SMF is a beast, dude. The SMG is already pretty big, but I get why you'd go for the SMF. So you like the long distal taper for the PM3 and the then the brutality of the Strider. Okay. VG10 Delica, always a really great option. Emerson Patriot, hell yeah, dude. Emerson Gang. Bastard, why you gotta order pizza? Oh, Mini Automas and Crew Wear. I get that. I finally got to handle one of the new ones today. That was sick. All right. What's up, man? Perfect timing. Microburst. The Nemly, LEK, and the Clydesdale. Nice choices, man.
What's up, man? Sorry, man. So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about what people like in an EDC knife.
Ooh.
And so Forrest is carrying his Dagger OTF in Kubi, designed by some guy named Mango.
Hey, Mango.
And then Neil Perkins carries the QSP Warney and a Hansen for work. This is awesome.
Very nice.
Welcome, PNW Fun Stuff, and Barbarian Brawny. Barbarian, you're a great guy to ask this to.
Oh, yeah.
What constitutes for you a good EDC knife? Do you prefer thin and slicey? Do you prefer a thicker blade stock thickness? I know you love your Inkosi, the mini Inkosi, that you're always posting pictures with that one. But let us know. What are your thoughts? You know?
So I want to touch on that just because I'm kind of late to the party, right?
Yeah.
So the Inkosis, I used to have a CRK Inkosi, the small one, the mini Tonto version.
Yeah.
And I sold it to Drew within like a month because it wasn't fidgety enough for me.
Okay. Interesting.
I did not like the action on it, and from that point forward, I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna have any more CRKs. And then Brian from BEDC got one, and it was tuned well, and the action was super fidgety. And now I'm like, okay, you know what? I kind of want one now. Like, I kind of want one that's been used and tuned and has that good action. Yeah.
I get that. So, to answer Barbarian, I put it in the chat, but I did say folders. We got a few more people. Just want to say what's up to B Shady, Jesse. Dude, that's weird. I hope you figure that out. Robo Stevo is here. P&W Fun Stuff has been lurking and working. Joseph S. What's going on, guys?
I've got to say, for mid-tier pricing but a premium feeling knife, you can't go wrong with the Artisan Satyr.
Mm.
The Artisan Satyr, dude, I'm telling you, the action on this is stupid good. It's super slicey. It's real super thin. It's almost like, I would almost classify this as like a gentleman's church carry. Like,
Fair.
like that's just how I feel about it. Like, we've talked a lot before, and you said you have a specific knife. I think it's your Jack Wolf that you take out to Sunday dinners and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's my Sunday carry knife.
Yeah, that's how I would classify this one, And the milling lines, like this is a tactile turn pin. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
It goes really well with it. So you can get them for relatively inexpensive for what it is. S90V, full titanium, super snappy action. I think they're going for anywhere from like 150 to 300, depending on where you get it at. So you can find them on sale.
Nice.
I mean, for that price point, you can't beat it.
So for me, what I'm always like curious about, like, what's for you, Luke? Like, what's the one knife that like you just keep, or not maybe one's not fair, but like maybe your top 3 knives that you keep going back to, like religiously, like you've got tons of options, but you're like, man, I just want this.
I actually was asked legitimately how many knives I have in the day, and I told them I could not answer that question because I did not know.
Interesting.
I've literally got, I want to say I gave up after 150 on counting. Like, I was just tired of counting. And, granted, a lot of those are budget, cheap knives and stuff like that. But there's still a lot of knives. And I'm going to answer your question. But I made this knife roll with a bunch of knives that are from what I consider friends.
Yeah.
So like this is my friend's knife, friends' knives, Yours is not in here because I've been carrying that a lot lately. So to answer your question though, my absolute go-to, the one that I just can't get down is the McNeese. And
agreed. I figured the McNeese for you would be your number one.
Bro, that's my number one. And I would say number 2 and number 3 are tied. You're not a friend. No, Shreve's definitely a friend. Like I said, it's in my dump tray. Number 2 and number 3 are tied between the Dead Reckon Ridgeback and the CDC Outbreak. And I love everything about the Outbreak. I mean, I would be stupid if I didn't, because obvious reasons. But I really enjoy everything about this knife. The only thing I do not like about this is that I cannot take it apart myself and fix issues that are wrong with it.
Sure.
And that is the only issue I have with this, hands down.
Interesting. So, but in case you missed it earlier, for me, I wanted to address something real quick. It's so funny because, like, I love you, Bronny, man, but I love the pocket friendly size, not too tactical, because like 3 of my knives that are perpetually in rotation, tactical aggressive, right? Tactical aggressive and tactical aggressive.
Ooh. And see, this is not including some of my older stuff that I used to carry all the time.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many of them. The Bug Out was the hardest one to get out of my pocket, hands down. Yeah. That and the Para 3, those two.
Why though? I'm curious.
Size was the main reason why, and I trusted them. Um, I knew that they would work constantly, and I
Yeah.
knew that I didn't have to worry about breaking them because they were always going to work. And then once I got over the whole Benchmade and Spyderco kick, I went to Chavez, and I did Chavez knives. Good God, for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And after the Chavez, that's whenever I found the McNees and
Now,
started designing our own stuff.
from transition from the Chavez over to the McNees, what drove that? Like, why
Um,
didn't you immediately go back? Like, you got the McNees, but what made it
sure.
stick around?
The action is better.
Okay.
Um, the action is just, man, it's so hard to explain because unless you've held both of them and fidgeted with both of them, they're pretty similar, right? Um, but the action on the McNees is better, and then just the way it feels in the hand, there's no hot spots. On the Chavez, I get a hot spot, and that's just me. I don't know. I've never met anybody else that has a hot spot on the Chavez.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. And so, what I'm actually, you can see Sharif Titty Cam real quick, but
Ooh,
I was really expecting more people to say knives with like this blade shape, but
mm,
seeing it. Barbarian kind of touched on that here with the CRKT Pilar,
sure.
um, you know, uh, which is kind of in this sheep's footy category. Yeah, the microburst is an excellent
Microburst.
example
It's
of
a
that.
great knife. The action
Yeah,
on it's stupid good. I
you know.
mean,
Oh, there's no doubt Casey knows how to design a good knife. And I'm not just saying that because you're here, Casey. I'd say that even if you weren't. Um, but
yeah, Casey knows what he's doing. I mean, heck, we have. There you go. There's another one of Casey's.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
Jim Miller did say Jetstream earlier. So
yeah.
yeah, like I'm kind of surprised. We did have was it B Shady earlier? Um whatchamacallit, that mentioned the Devo Stout. Yeah. So we did get
The Diva
like
Stout.
a comment like that. Um
This the Diva Stout right here. I can't remember.
I think so. I don't know. Basically, if it has a sheep's footy Warncliffe blade and it's not a Winter Blade Co. or a microburst, I don't know it.
There you go. There's another Devo knife.
So I was talking about this earlier. This is one that has been fighting the Kaimano for pocket time lately.
Really?
I really like this knife. For what you were saying, similar reasons, it's a good size. It's
Yeah.
a small knife that I can still get 4 fingers on, which is important to me, you know? It's thin, it's slicey. Now, personally, I know I'm different than a lot of people. I'm not super big on the big belly,
Yeah.
but that's just a personal preference.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this is a excellent knife, which is why I spent my own money on it, you know?
Well,
Uh,
and personal preference goes a long way in the
yeah,
knife community, but a lot of times when you do stuff and you're a knife designer, you have to set aside stuff that you want to do and kind of push towards what the community would want too, because you're not the one buying it. I mean,
yes, and that's an interesting point, and I can't remember. I think it was Goondocks who asked me earlier. He said, "Do I design for what sells or for the stuff that I want?" Right?
and I no, and don't take it the way that it sounds
Yeah,
terrible to say it like that. Don't take it the way, oh, only sell design what sells. No, you can make compromises. You can
sure.
design something that's completely yours,
Yeah, yeah,
but at the same time, don't seclude the whole community on by using a certain flipper tab that no one would use because
right.
you like it. you know.
So in that vein, like the way I answered Goondocks, or what my take was, I do the stuff that's a little bit more appealing, generally speaking, as licensed designs,
Sure.
because the factories are more risk averse. They're looking to sell volume, in that, right? The stuff that I want to make under my own brand is stuff that I want to carry, right?
Sure.
Now, what I want to carry isn't always wild and crazy, admittedly, right?
Yeah.
But there is a preponderance of designs that I like that are not the mainstream, right? And I'm very cool with that, you know. So like I'm not looking to sell 1,000, 2,000 units. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I want to make things that are cool to me. Now, to what your point was, I know thumb discs are not beloved.
There you go.
So I won't put thumb discs on
Yeah.
my designs, generally speaking. Right. Um, so
But like this right here, this is a perfect example. Let me show you what I'm talking about, right?
yeah,
So this right here has two deployment methods. You have a hole and you have a front flipper. Not everybody likes the front flipper and not everybody likes the hole, but they're both there. So you can choose which one you want to use and you're good to go.
yeah,
This is EMP.
right,
So that's just what I'm talking about. That's why we do all of our knives with the flipper and the thumb stud, because the people that don't like the flipper tab can easily grind off the flipper tab if they really wanted to. It would
yeah.
void the knife, but it would be their knife anyways. That's what you know what I'm saying? Like it's yours to do however you want to do to it.
So that's, for me, a very interesting point, because I have a knife here that I really like, and I'm trying to figure out if I should sell it or get it modded, right? Because of one reason and one reason alone.
Sure.
This is a Grambo Assetto, right? Beautiful knife. This is a total Sharif style knife,
Yeah.
right? It's got the big sweeping, like, harpoon kind of curved clip point. This looks like something that I would draw, like,
Sure.
realistically speaking. For me, like, the fact that it's front flipper only bothers me.
Sure. Sure.
And it's just because I'm not a front flipper only guy. The deployment is great on it. Action is great on it. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it's made by Riyadh. So it's really nice. And I have a model number that's under 100, which makes it theoretically more desirable.
Yeah.
And I when my hands are dry, I can reverse flick it, right?
Sure.
But man, if this thing had a thumb stud, that would just make it that much better for me.
Yeah.
It's not that the front flipper action is bad. It's just,
Something you want.
yeah, it is. It is. So, like, I'm not a huge person on a ton of deployment methods, but there's certain ones that I definitely prefer over
Yeah.
others.
And
Now,
everybody does. Everybody has that one that they prefer, you know.
now I'm going counter to my boy Forrest here, who says if people don't like front flippers, they put the milk in before the cereal.
Well, see, and there was a question asked by Barbarian Bronny. It says multiple deployment options are nice, but I'm not a designer. How do you make them all work with the detent not being the same flipper tab, same with the
Right.
flipper tab or a thumb stud? Okay, so
Is an issue.
that is an issue, and it's brought up quite a bit, and depending on who you ask, with finger strength per se, is whether or not you're going to get that weak, like, because you can fell it if you really wanted to, right? Or if you just do it like a normal, you can get it done, and then you can get it all, like, almost every time with this. But truthfully, you're going to want to spec the knife to the thumb studs.
Yeah.
You want to spec the knife to the thumb studs because the flipper tab is going to be your secondary. It's your placement of the thumb studs. It's how you put them on the knife. So if you look here, it's close and up, right? You want that close and up. That way you get that punch. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to explain, I guess, but definitely spec it to the thumb studs, and the other one will follow.
What's going on, Lefty? Nice to see you. Lefty, we are talking about
Lefty.
What constitutes a good EDC knife. And one of the ones that has been fighting my own knife for pocket time, and I've said this is not because you're here. You can go back and watch the VOD. I have been talking about how much I actually really love the Growler. So, phenomenal knife. Absolutely love it. Not surprised it sells out, you know. But yeah, so to what Luke was saying, it's very interesting because today I saw somebody fail a Kaimano for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, which is like freaking impossible with how these things are tuned. Like, if anything, people say that the tuning is almost aggressive, you know, and it's very snappy. But funny enough, it was an older lady who was handling the knife, and she didn't have the finger strength. So she was just like doing something like this, where she was just barely pulling it. Now, this one has washers in it, so it's not typical of the Kaimano action. But still, I was like, I've never seen a Kaimano get failed.
and I do want to go over something on when you're doing a flipper tab. I want to show y'all something.
Hell yeah!
We get a lot of complaints about this jimping right here, about how this jimping catches people's finger and causes them to not like the deployment, right? Because they're running their finger down. And as you see, I felled it right there because that's not the proper way that you're supposed to do it. When you use the flipper tab, you just pull straight down like a light switch, and you're not even going to touch that jimping.
So for that reason, though, because I know some people do that, that's why on the Kaimano, you see I have that little, because there will be people there who do that, and then they'll jam their finger in there, you know?
Yeah.
But when you do a liner lock design, that you can't do that. That's something you can only do in the titanium, you know? But
I do too, Barbarian Bronny.
KC was saying, I have a hard time with a lot of multiple deployment knives because people focus on their design, then throw others in. They make each method effective, then it would be great. And that's the problem. You can't necessarily. So, okay, this is one of the reasons.
Yes, Michael. Yes.
I got flamed, right? Was when I was critiquing Vosteed, right? Because Vosteed, they put every damn deployment method on their knives. Front flipper, back flipper, you know, thumb stud, whatever. And the problem is you cannot effectively tune a knife for every single deployment method, right? You have to make a very distinct choice. And if you make a choice for the one that has the most difficult deployment method, or like needs the least, difficult's the wrong word. If you make a decision for the one that requires the least amount of hand strength, the other ones don't work out. And the variance in manufacturing means that you'll never get it to be perfectly tuned, right? It's better, like one of the reasons I love the Growler, they went with one deployment method. One. So it works all
but it's
the time.
It's a popular deployment method too.
It is. It's
There you go.
you
That's the
know,
difference, though.
like you can thumb flick it, you can reverse flick it. It works because that is that is the way, for lack of a better way of putting it, right? Like straight up, like that is the way, right?
Oh, I love it.
and and it works, but like people get overly caught up in fidgetiness. I think the max you can get away with is two, like realistically speaking.
Oh, I'm
So
gonna do 16 next time, just to.
yeah, well, good luck. You're gonna have a knife that you're just gonna sit there, and you'll be able to like do this back and forth with the blade.
That'd be hilarious. That should have been the April Fool's joke right there. That's what
Right?
we should have done. Was a
20
knife with
different
16.
deployment methods.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, I'm I don't know. I'm a little dogmatic with a few things, admittedly. Uh, but this is also why I like having these debates, because I like to
yeah,
see if anybody, even the customers, right? Like the people in the community,
yeah.
can convince me otherwise. I like to hear good arguments supporting perspectives that aren't my own, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that I love talking to Kev, Lefty EDC, about. Kev is always willing to challenge my assumptions, and funny enough, we agree on this particular case,
I love it, Michael. I love it.
right?
We're gonna have a smart button, and it's gonna be like, "Hey Siri, go ahead and deploy my knife."
Oh God.
Bloop.
What up, Doc? How you doing, man?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Man. But that's for me. I know, like I said, I have certain views. Like I'm one of the last holdouts for the old school. Give me a knife on washers with a thumb disc, and just make it out of a chunk of titanium, blah 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 blah. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like it's why I like Striders. It's one of the
sure.
reasons I like Emerson's. It's um, I I love tactical.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I get it, but
That's
it
awesome.
it doesn't stop me though from getting stuff like this, which is, in my opinion, a great EDC knife, or
Yeah,
getting something like this phenomenal
sure,
EDC knife. You know what I mean? Or the current love of my pocket, the growler. Like
sure.
so, I it, there's space to learn and space to challenge yourself a bit. Yeah. See, I agree, Casey.
Yeah, and that's why I said, if you and I've actually heard of people doing it with our knives. I've had people reach out to me and say they didn't like the flipper tab on the Hansen, so they ground it off. I
Yeah,
mean,
fair.
it's their knife; they can do what they want with it at that point.
Yeah.
That's on them if they mess it up, but
Yeah. So I have a knife that I actually feel that way about. It's a MKM Izanzo, and it's the Hawkbill version. Let me show you real quick. So, there's this, and I can share my screen. So it's an odd thing, but these are the Izanzos, right? These are small little 2.25 inch knives, right? I use this Hawkbill because I got it ridiculously cheap as my shipping companion, right? So you
yeah,
get those prepackaged boxes from USPS, or like those packages with the flat rate boxes, and they're all like, vacuum sealed or whatever up. I'll use that, rip holes in it, do all of that stuff. Later, Joe. Take care. Take care. But this little hawkbill has been phenomenal for me. And even when I use tape around my boxes to seal them and protect them, I'll use a little hawkbill tip, cut off any excess.
Interesting.
You know,
I like that idea, Lefty.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah, definitely. It's good advice. But for whatever reason, MKM and Voxnays, in their infinite wisdom, they put a flipper tab on this one only.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them don't have it. I'm literally 2 seconds away from taking a fucking grinder to this thing because it drives me. It gets in the way, Every other model, they don't have a flipper tab. Only on the Hawkbill do they have a flipper. And it's a useless flipper tab in this particular case. Like, you don't get great leverage. The thumb hole is way better for the action,
Yeah.
So I get it. Sometimes for your hands, you want something a little different. Hell, I'm even thinking about doing some special editions of the Kaimano and having the modder grind down the flipper tab, right?
Yeah.
Because you can my preferred method of opening is reverse flicking, and if I don't have that flipper tab here, I'll be able to, for the people who get it, they'll be able to choke up a little bit easier on the knife. Later, Jim. So I get it. And that's sometimes where purity of a design and the thought process behind it goes a long way. If this had a flipper tab, this would be a totally different knife, and I probably wouldn't like it.
Interesting.
So it gives me, the room here that would be taken up by a flipper tab, and I'd have to be back here, which is comfortable, but nowhere near as comfortable as the choke-up grip. So for me, it's a very interesting topic. As I said, I'm opinionated.
Everyone should be opinionated, and that's just how it should be. You should.
I like when people are, for
that's
sure.
kind of the point. That's kind of the point of these lives, man. We want people to be opinionated, and sometimes we may play devil's advocate and say something just to kind of get it rolling.
Dang,
sorry, hold on one second.
You carry a lot. You and Dopey, man, nuts with your carry. I don't know how you carry all that shit on you, man. Like, you literally have at least 2 flashlights. Dude, yeah, Lefty. I have a good detent for the thumb hole, horrible detent for the flipper tab, honestly. But we know, really, with the Italians, their shit is, kind of all over the place, There you go.
I saw that, Drew.
Yeah.
Did it get approved, Drew? Did it get approved? MKM blows. I tried to do great design, horrible execution with those flipper tabs and detents, just like you were saying.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah, it definitely is. Man, but again, another one for purity. Love this guy, honestly. This may become my new Sunday carry. I fucking love
I love that knife.
Yeah.
I think the people behind it are great. But my concern.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But dude, it's funny because I spent some time recently. Like I'm gonna do a video on this, and I've
Yeah.
researched the background of the crossbar lock. I actually have even several knives that I'm gonna compare it to in similar sizes, including the Giant Mouse Nazca that was done by Best Tech. I've got a Kaiser Escort. I've got a whatchamacallit. What a Cole? What's going on? Uh, and I'm comparing it to Benchmade. This has the best access lock of anything so far for me. And then all the people who talk about it being like a Benchmade 940, I got to spend some time with a Benchmade 940 recently. Benchmade 940 feels like garbage in the hands compared to this. So
Really?
yeah, that's my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah,
And like I said, I think it's a wonderful knife. I enjoy carrying it. I wish that they like the whole purpose of that knife, from what they said, was so you could change out the scales and match them to your EDC that day, or your
yeah,
outfit, as they said. I just wish the scales were more affordable to where you could do that.
I
That's the
agree.
only thing I wish on them.
I
I
agree.
think that they're a fantastic knife, and they are a game changer with certain things. But
Yeah,
I think
I
that
think this
once
needs
they get it down,
yeah, like they need to have a micarta and G10 version, honestly,
yeah.
of the scales. Like,
Well, yeah, and that's this is in no way reflecting on Sharif. Like, this is solely my opinion. You know, um, it's just I what are they, like 150 for the scales?
100, yeah, like between 150 and 180, which is like,
Yeah, the same price as a knife almost.
yeah, oh, it is the same price as a knife, not
Yeah,
this
and
knife, but
well, no, the knife is what, 280.
yeah,
So it's like $100 less than the
yeah,
knife. So you're not getting the internals. You're not getting the lock. You're not getting the
the
frame,
steel, yeah,
the steel. You're just getting the handle. And I get it. You have to make money. I fully understand that, but
yeah.
it just makes it hard for me to justify buying scales for it. I don't know. Just my
No,
opinion.
and I will I'm very open of my critique of them, and it's something that I will tell them both in private, and I will say in my review is that, I think the knife is phenomenal, but like I said, what I don't want another set of titanium. I have it,
Yeah, exactly.
right? If I want to make this more usable for me in different scenarios, I want my Carta or I want Peel Applied G10,
Sure.
because I have the titanium, right?
Yeah.
If I'm going to use this, let's say, and I'm going out to like the woods or whatever, or just like someplace or a situation where I don't want to scratch up the titanium, I want
Yeah.
an affordable option set of scales. That's what I want, you know. But yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. One of the things that drives me nuts about the 940 is it has that little peak, right here off of the front of the scale that separates the blade from the handle scale. And I know it's meant to be like a little thumb ramp, but my hands are too big, for it. I want this kind of grip. And to me, that's like, if I do that with a 940, that peak is jabbing me directly in the thumb, Whereas this feels luxurious in comparison.
That knife feels fantastic in the hand.
It
And
does.
it truly reminds me of a more fidgety CRK.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I love the knife. I really do, truly.
Dude. Neil Perkins, we are talking about the Pyrotech Kraken right here. And so I'll preface this by saying that I am good friends with Kay and Damon, right? Like the guys who created this. Um, but I'm also not the type to pull my punches. When something's stupid, I call something stupid, right? Everybody who knows me knows that I basically have knee pads that say GTC and Frizola on them, right? But like this is a GTC design with a stupid pocket clip, that doesn't work like at all. This thing is impossible to carry, you know, unless you just leave it loose in your pocket, and it's a big knife to leave loose in your
Yeah.
pocket, right?
What's up, Cheeto?
So even though I literally, like I said, I've got knee pads, like a spade is a spade is a spade, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see.
Oh
Here.
dang. I'm curious. I want to see the result of that, Barbarian.
Here you go. Let me. Can I share my screen?
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
okay?
It is dumb as hell. Good idea, terrible execution for sure.
Here you go. They did a founding members page from the people that originally bought the knife, right?
Yeah.
And these are the knife you got, like your show number you got. I was number 21. So I do support this knife. I back it. I really enjoy it. And I think it's a great knife. And like I said, oh look, Sack in the Wild. I didn't even know he did it. That's cool.
Oh dang. That's awesome.
EDM, Everyday City Carry, Beast Blades, Metal Complex, Ricky, Lefty, Neves, White Mountain Knife, I'm assuming.
Yeah, if it's WMK.
Yeah. But it's just cool. It's a great knife. I really enjoy it.
It absolutely is.
Okay, then here's the knife. They're sold out right now.
Yeah.
First run was $280, and then here you go. They're in stock. Okay, $300.
Okay.
So $300 for the knife, and then the scales are sold separately. You can get the crystallized titanium for $180, the anodized right here for $160, or the crystallized for $185. So
yeah. Again, I would like to see them expand their offerings, into different materials. I think that would be very compelling, because I don't want lightning anno.
Yeah,
and I don't want crystallized tie personally.
I'm not a big fan of lightning anno. I used to like it. I don't know.
Where I like lightning anno is as an accent, right? Like if you give me a backspacer and lightning anno, then it's cool.
What's up, CPM?
What up, CPM? How you doing, brother? CPM, what do you think? You haven't seen this yet. What do you think of that?
Brian, Sharif did not have an issue with the Kraken. He said that because I said that my issue with it was the scale price being the price that it was, only $100 less than the knife.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that was the issue, and that was my issue, not Sharif's. Just want to clarify.
No, it's a critique that I agree with, though. Like, I think...
Okay. I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth, though, is what I was getting at.
No, I appreciate that. I think what I'd love to see from them, and I'm going to tell them this, is I'd love to see a micarta and a G10 option.
Sure.
I think, especially with what they're trying to do with the pink crystallized, they could do that with, pink G10, purple G10, and it would open up a range of customization that wasn't available before, and it would be more affordable. Like, you'd be maybe more willing to spend $80 on scales, right? Because if we look at like the modders, or not the modders, like Rip's Garage Tech, OG Goat, or Original Goat, that's around their territory,
Yeah.
So, CPM, what do you think? Give me your feedback, brother.
He's in awe because it's so dang awesome. That's what it is, bro.
And dude. But yeah, man. So I don't know. I'm what I've definitely picked up from the chat, right? And what people have been saying, they definitely they don't want like a million and one deployment options. One or two is sufficient as long as they're good. Fidget factor has to be, uh, it has to be decently fidgety, but it's not their dominant, thing that they want. But it still needs to have that, satisfying ability, which is, I mean, God, this thing's a fidget monster, for sure. Um, so I get that. Uh, People probably don't want overly thick blade steel on their EDC knife.
Yeah.
Somewhere between, you know, 3 millimeter, 3.5 millimeters, the sweet spot. So that's what, 130 thousandths to 140 thousandths, somewhere around there. CPM wants all the Benchmates ever. CPM wants to own Benchmade stock. And
CPM just bought this one, didn't he?
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. I know he did. He sent me pictures. And they want something that is comfortable in hand. Seems that the bug out para 3 kind of size range is
Yep.
desirable, which is awesome because this guy that I designed is just a hair larger than a para 3. So, and
You
that
know,
for me, I like the para 3. I just wanted to be maybe a quarter inch longer, you
yeah.
know. So,
You know what's funny, man? You asked earlier. You mentioned earlier that your style of knife that you carry is tactical, right? Tactical aggressive is what you call it, right?
yeah,
I
stabby.
sure.
Yeah.
So like my style is more. Um, it looks a bit tall. Dang. My style, my preference is McNeese and the Outbreak and the Ridgeback. So it's going to be more of like a workhorse style,
Sure.
but not loud. Like obviously I do like loud knives, but the preference is not loud knives, right? So I'm a little bit nervous because I have a feeling one knife is going to rule them all for a very long time, and it hasn't even come out yet. And I cannot wait to get it. I've actually two knives. One of them is your designs. The one off of that website where it was half off.
The Grazioso.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that one eventually.
Yeah.
And then the other one is a Kurt American designed knife done by Ocaso, and it's more of a gentleman's knife, which is not my typical carry, but dude, it's
peace, Kyle.
But it's definitely gonna be, I think it's gonna try and steal the pocket for a long time.
Nice.
Oh, what else was?
CPM, just so you can see, this is what it looks like in my hands.
I need it.
So, and then if I got rid of the harpoon, this is what it looks like in the hands. Just giving you an idea, CPM. But we should wind it down. Grumpy is live, and we definitely want to send some people over to Grumpy's Live. Yeah, Barbarian, I'm definitely keeping the Poon. I am the Poon man. So I don't think I've designed a knife recently or in a okay, like Peace Donny Bless. This is a 2020 design I did. I didn't have the Poon on it. My early designs I definitely didn't, but once I did the guy, I've been we'll call it a Poon hound. This guy. This is one I need to start carrying because I've been waiting for this one to come out for a while. But yeah, ever since this knife, I've been designing knives with Poons. And
bro, it reminds me a lot of the handle of this one.
Yeah, but this one's older.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like the clip and everything. Like,
wow. Yeah, this one I'm happy that it's finally here. It's been a long time coming. Been waiting for it since 2020. Finally get the spec that I like, you know.
Heck yeah.
I don't know if you guys can hear it. Let me see if there's echo. Yeah, if I get rid of the echo cancellation. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Is that coming through the mic at all?
Kind of.
It has like a shink chink kind of like sound, you know? It kind of whooshes. Which I really dig, you know? But yeah, I may carry this today for the rest of the day. Give it some pocket time. It deserves it. But on that note, y'all, Luke, any closing thoughts, any closing words?
Oh, man. I can hear myself though.
Oh, hold on. Let me get rid of the echo cancellation then. My bad. That should do it.
There we go. Okay, I was like, yeah, that's rough. If you haven't, go to MS Knives and pick you up a Kaimano. They are in micarta or fat carbon, and the fat carbon is almost gone.
Yes.
You are going to be very lucky if you get one at this point. Are you going to do another round of them?
No. 300 of the Kaimano in existence ever. And they're gone.
Ever. Are you going to do like an XS or an XL version of it, maybe?
Nope.
No? Ooh.
One
and done. Okay. Well, there you go. You heard it here. One and done. They're almost gone. Go pick you one up. They're awesome. And then I would love to shameless plug if you're cool with it.
Of course.
We are relaunching the Kickstarter for the Outbreak, and we're asking $10,000 less than last time. Meaning we are no longer asking 28, we are asking 17.5. So it's a lot less, and we hit 22 last time. So we should be able to hit that goal very easily. It's going to be for 15 days only. The first day only will be 220 versus 250 on the rest of the days. And then once it comes to market, they're going to be 290. So day one, you're getting a $70 discount.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And I think they're going to go quick. I think it's going to fill fast, and I'm very excited for it. And if it doesn't fill this time, then it wasn't meant to be, in my opinion. But I don't see it not filling. I mean, we have plenty of videos out there now. Lots of people are interested in it. We had 88 backers last time. I think it's going to go great. 87 or 88, I can't remember. But I think it'll be great. I'm excited about it. Not only do we have that, but after that, we have the Ocaso knives, and that one will fund no matter what, because there is only $1,000 limit. So there's pretty much going to happen. Very excited about both of those. Yeah, that's it, man. That's we're almost sold out of everything on our website for knife wise. So if you want one of our knives, make sure you get them quick because they're almost gone, and we're not going to have any for a while except for at Blade Show. So
hell yeah. Alrighty, everybody. If you guys are still sticking around, head over to Grumpy's Live. He is going hot and steady right now. And dudes, thank you all for being here. We are going to peace out, and we will catch you. Wrong thing. We will catch you guys next week. All right. Bye.